Hello everyone, welcome to YK Reviews. For today we're going to be talking about the Monarch Legacy of Monsters TV series as part of the MonsterVerse, so let's get straight into it here. So yes, we're going to be talking about Monarch Legacy of Monsters. As you see in the title, you see in the thumbnail, is this one of the better projects that has come out of the MonsterVerse? And I'll be saying this right now, this is a fantastic show. You'll see it where my positives are more than my negatives. I have a few nitpicks here and there, but however, overall in terms of the show, a fantastic, amazing, well written, beautifully tying into all the MonsterVerse movies and Easter eggs and everything like that. It's just one that I honestly highly recommend, worth the watch. But before we jump into the review quickly here, if you are new to the channel and you do like this type of stuff, I just recently did an Echo review as well. Post that somewhere around here. I do weekly entertainment news videos. That's going to be posting probably within the next 24 hours, along with so many different types of videos. So if you do like that type of stuff, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, also smashing the like button, hitting that notification bell, sharing the video, all that YouTube stuff. Appreciate all of that support here, because as we're getting into this review, as we're getting into the Monarch Legacy of Monster TV series, it consists of 10 episodes. Brand new characters are being introduced, along with some couple of old characters which are younger versions of themselves, like Bill Randa, for example, who was in the Kong Skull Island movie as the older version of himself. So we get introduced to a younger version, and I gotta say, when it comes to like the MonsterVerse movies, don't know if I've said it before, but I normally care about the titans, about the monsters, rather than the human characters. If you tell me right now, like, oh, which human character is your favorite when it comes to like the MonsterVerse movies, based off of the top of my head, to me, the one that really stands out for me is like the little girl in the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. I know that Aaron Taylor-Johnson and Elizabeth Olsen was in one of the Godzilla movies, but from what I remember is that they were either a couple, because in the MCU they're brother and sister, so that's kind of a messy situation. But other than that, I really cannot tell you like the characters, even their names or anything like that, because I'm not invested in that. But this does a complete opposite. It goes into the similar route of Godzilla -1, but not as beautifully done when it comes to that movie. With this one, you are invested in these characters, and I really do hope we get to see more. I don't know if they're going to do a season 2. If they're not, it's going to be such a shame, because I love what they did with this show. But if not, then I really do hope we see them in the movies eventually, because you're that invested with the characters. The characters are so well written. You've even got like some side characters too. Like there's a character that is represented in the Monarch organization, but his character development and his story arc going from episode 1 to episode 10, it just was absolutely blown away with how much I was invested with that specific character. After they were first introduced, you didn't really care for them, and they just kept popping up. But eventually you do get tangled with that character. So from character's perspective, because with this show too, it not only focuses on like present day, because this takes place after Godzilla, the Godzilla movie, the one from 2014. And what I really enjoyed about that as well is that they focus on the impact and the aftermath of the Godzilla movies. And that's what I really liked about that, is that it's got the titans, and I'll talk about the titans and the monsters later on as well, but it not only focuses on that, it focuses on like what happens after the Titans attack. So from 2015 onwards, they focus on like what it's done to the human race, what it's done to the city, and the impact it has on the human characters. Along with that, not only does it focus on like present day, it focuses on like the past, because you go through some time jumping here. So you're focusing on like the present day, but then you focus on the creation of Monarch. You focus on the characters like Keiko and Bill Randa, along with like Leland Shaw too. And when it comes to like Leland Shaw, so you've got two versions of him, like I said, the present day version and the old school version. So both are playing from Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell, father and son. And honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of Wyatt Russell in his performances from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I've not seen him in any other projects. However, he does a brilliant performance in this. Like, I'm completely sold and on board with his character, and definitely made me want to see more of him in the MCU projects like Thunderbolts, for example, based on like this performance alone. But like the focus on the past, I really like that aspect in terms of like the creation, the dynamic, what the ups and downs was, what the trials and tribulation that took effect with these three characters. And it just worked so well that I really was heavily invested in their story. Because like I mentioned, you focus on like the creation of Monarch and the Titans and how that's impacted in terms of like the future of the US government. But then as we're getting to like the present day situation where you focus on like the grandkids of the Randa parents, like Keiko and Bill Randa, you're focusing on the grandkids, and then you're focusing on like Kurt Russell's character, who is like the older version of Wyatt Russell's character. And that story development just worked really, really well. The character arcs and like the personalities that they're displaying, the chemistry with one another, it just worked really well that every episode you're hooked. It's like a hook, line and sinker for me with these characters. Now you may be asking, do I need to see anything before watching this show? You mostly need to watch the Godzilla movie, like the one from 2014. That's probably the one that you need to watch in order to understand everything, the concept and everything from the past and the present timeline. However, what I would say is that before watching episode 10, like the finale, I went and rewatched Godzilla vs. Kong. And I gotta say, because with this show, it not only introduces the Monarch organization and like the timeline of how it was created and why they're going after Titans and the backstory with that, it also ties in a lot of good aspects when it comes to like the creation of Apex and how that started, and going from that to then Godzilla vs. Kong and their creation of the Mechagodzilla character. So you get a lot of like Easter eggs, and after watching episode 1 to episode 9, I had a lot of enjoyment. Like my enjoyment for the Godzilla vs. Kong movie really stepped up a level because of the tie-ins and all the Easter eggs that they presented to us, because I love the Godzilla vs. Kong movie. I really enjoy it. So watching this show and then rewatching that, it just stepped up a level when it comes to my excitement for that movie. So again, I would watch the Godzilla movie, the 2014 one, before watching this. But then after watching this show, I would honestly go and watch the Kong Skull Island movie along with Godzilla vs. Kong. The Godzilla sequel, you can hit and miss, to be completely honest with you, depending on your enjoyment of that movie, if you've seen it before or not. But in terms of like the other movies, I honestly would just go watch it after watching the series, because it really does a lot of great tie-ins, especially with like what happened in terms of Kong Skull Island, like Bill Randa's character in that movie. It does a lot of tie-in when it comes to like how he ended up there and then his fate and what happened and the impact it had to like the rest of the family. I think that was just so fantastically written. Like it just worked so well in terms of teasing everything, connecting all the dots. It just worked so well. And then of course when it comes to like the Titans, now this isn't really Titan heavy in the show. Like you do get some Titans here and there, like not every episode will feature a Titan, but when they do feature it, man, they do a fantastic job with it. The way, first of all, a Titan does start appearing and the impact that it has towards like how they try to escape the Titan, how they try to defeat the Titan, it does work so well. You get a lot of different unique ones. I really do enjoy the one from the first couple of episodes, and then there are a couple of Titans that do appear sprinkled throughout the show. And then of course, this isn't really a spoiler because it does appear in the trailer, but the Godzilla appearance, and my God, they did a fantastic job with Godzilla. Like he is impactful, he's fearful, he is such a great addition to the show, and what he does in this series, I honestly loved what they did with it. I've had a fantastic time seeing Godzilla, even though it wasn't as much as I would have expected or as much as I would have wanted. I really enjoyed the sprinkled moments that they do have with Godzilla. Like I said, it's not Titan focused heavy. Like you're not going to see a Titan in every single episode. You're not going to see the humans versus the Titans or anything like that in every single episode. But honestly, from what they've displayed, it is very satisfying when it comes to like the Titan point of view here. But for me, when it comes to, I would say, the final 2 episodes, this isn't a spoiler review or anything like that. I should have mentioned that. But when it comes to the final 2 episodes, the ending of episode 9 and the reveal for that, to then leading up to the finale, I loved the finale of this show. The emotional moments, the story beats, the impact and the shock factor that they reveal in episode 10. Now again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but my God, I was absolutely blown away, jaw-dropping, fantastic sequences when it comes to episode 10. And then the way they leave off everything with that final shot in the finale, again, my jaw was dropped. I loved the impact of the finale. I loved what they did with the show. It ties up a little bit of some loose ends, but there was a lot left to be desired. So again, I don't know if they are going to do a season 2 or if they're going to be tying it into like other movies. I'm not honestly sure. I really do hope there is a season 2 because I was invested into the show that much. but I loved what they did with the finale. Is one to stick around for, because you have such a fantastic time. Now onto the negative aspects of it, because I'll be completely honest with you, when it comes to certain story beats in terms of like what they start off with the show, in terms of the present day, they're focusing on one sort of aspect of like them finding a certain character. Now I feel like they heavily dangle on that throughout most of the show. Like from episode 1 to I would say episode 6, 7 is a focus on that, and it drags on a lot when it comes to the show. So I'll be honest, when it comes to episode, I would say 4 to 7, it really does slow the momentum down a lot, and it just drags a little bit for me. But that's not to say you're not heavily invested in it. I just felt like that story beat of looking for a certain character just played out far too long, and they should have just wrapped it up a little bit sooner rather than play it out a little bit longer here. And there's one episode that's very story heavy when it comes to just one character, which I feel like I wasn't really that invested with it. With the payoff that they got at the end of the episode, I kind of enjoyed, because it ties into like the future of the MonsterVerse. However, I just wasn't invested too much into that particular episode. So you do get a bit of a misses when it comes to certain episodes in the middle of the show, but the strong start of the show to the strong end of the show makes up for the middle of the show, I would have to say, because it really is a highly recommended show. I would have to say, like, you get so much enjoyment from the Titans, you get so much investment with the human characters, that blending it together makes it for a really worth watching show. And again, definitely one of the better projects to come out of the MonsterVerse. But if you have seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you enjoy it? What didn't work for you? Please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you haven't seen it, do you think you'll be checking it out? Again, let me know in the comment section down below. But that about wraps it up for this review here. There is going to be some shorts when it comes to like the TED TV series, along with like the Netflix Kevin Hart movie of Lift. There's going to be some shorts coming out for that. So again, if you are new, definitely consider subscribing. But again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. This is SawaiKiersey Reviews. Peace.